For the New York Football Jets, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron.
Did you hear about Shohei? What he's going to do?
I love any time the show mentions Hulk Hogan. That gets me going.
All right. Yeah, the internet too. Yep. And we'll always get reminded of everything Hulk Hogan's ever done.
Sure. We know.
I'm sure AJ can tell you all about it. Yeah.
Well,
I watched the Hulkster back in the day when it was WWF, when he was rolling. Of course.
Did you?
When he was with NWO, and he came out with Rodman against Carl the Mailman Malone and Diamond Dallas Page.
Yeah.
That was special.
Yeah, it was. That whole run, honestly. Eric Bischoff, he talks about 82 weeks. They led the ratings over Monday Night Raw. That was Nitro. And the Hulkster, Scott Hall, Diesel going over there. And then the idea of the New World Order taking over, brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. And Hulkster dyeing that beard every week.
Oh, my God. Playing the guitar coming out. Oh. Just the best ever.
And then the brother deliveries always hit.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's talk football. Aaron, I don't like you trying to dodge the question here. Okay, I don't like what you did here.
Not dodging anything.
Yeah, you did. Well, you're not dodging. Hey, the internet's going to get you. You are a meme machine. Every time you're on TV, something comes of it. We'll obviously talk about the game and everything that happened during it, but there's a clip.
I've already been alerted to this, and actually in the moment I was thinking, man, I hope the camera's not on me right now.
He said you ate your bugs.
Yep.
That's gross.
Digging for gold.
He said you ate your,
your
boogers.
Oh, damn, it actually kind of looks like it. Yeah. It kind of looks like it, too.
If you would like to, I think you ate your bugs, dude. I think that's what the internet's saying. Now, obviously, I am a human. There was another nostril thing that happened. You had a bottle of smelling salts, I believe, get you going.
Yep.
So I understand wanting a nice clear nasal cavity. That's what you're trying to do with that, kind of get you going. Maybe something slipped off the edge of that. Maybe there's a little something flying through the air. Fireman Ed's. Maybe beard or mustache came in and tickled you. What happened there? If you would like to clear the air for the boogie eating scandal.
Well, first of all, shout out to Max Mitchell for being there for the little, smelling salts, ammonia packages before taking the field. I appreciate that. As far as the boogs goes, I've actually never eaten my boogers. That's one thing I'm very proud of.
That was your first time on TV?
Oh, one time? What about as a child? Had to happen. Come on. Had to happen.
No, I honestly haven't.
You're missing out. Try it.
It looks.
Give it a go. Yeah.
It's great.
It's a tough look to try and defend because that video it's a little incriminating. I can tell you that there needs to be a side view that shows that there wasn't a boog that actually went in the mouth.
Okay.
It seems like I didn't get anything on that one. That's why I was just kind of seeing what was going on, but yeah, it's a bad look.
Every once in a while, you get a little tickle in there, too. You got to clear it up. If we could get full context with that side view to notice that there was no delivery.
I'm sure there's a side view as well.
Well, we're going to find it. I'm sure the internet will try to find that entire thing. Happy you cleared your name there. Now, let's chit-chat about the game. Early. Looks good. Here we go. Sunday Night Football. We're about to have a massive win over the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. This could kind of propel us into a whole new season looking ahead. Then, obviously, the second half goes the way it does. You have a couple turnovers, a couple interceptions, one off a chest, one over the middle. All hell is breaking loose seemingly in Jets fandom. How do you feel about the game and how it went and viewing it going forward for the season?
Well, I'm disappointed in the pick because I feel like the first pick that changed the whole momentum. The one off Garrett's chest, that stuff's going to happen. There's always going to be those plays, slips or tips or, drops that turn into that. It's kind of part of the game. Some seasons you have a good stretch of luck where you don't have those plays, but those are going to happen. And I told him, come on back to you, don't worry about it. But the first one, that was a bad decision. I should have just dumped it off. We're leading. We had under 2 minutes there. We go down and get points, just go down and run some more clock time. They don't get the ball back. We go into halftime up 2 scores. I loved we scored on a touchdown to Conk. They have some sort of penalty on the extra point. I went to Brick, said, hey, let's go for 2. Let's go up by 2 scores. Because every time you go up by 2 scores, it changes the nature of the game, whether it's first half or second half. It's the momentum of it. So to go up 15-6 to have a chance there to go up 18-6 or 22-6 or just waste some more time off, don't give them the ball. We have the kickoff. We get the ball in the second half to start to have a chance to go up 3 scores. that was a really bad decision by me. So I'm disappointed. I think the energy level was good to start the game as it was in Buffalo, but the energy, and I look at myself first. It just wasn't good enough. I think personally and as a team, we're playing with too much anger and not enough enjoyment. That's why I kind of wore this hat today as a little reminder. Shout out to Jake Ryan and Hugo, but. We've played this game for a long time, and we get paid incredibly well. This is our livelihood to play a game most of us dreamt about or played as kids and always want to be in this position. And personally, and our team, we just need to have a little more fun, smile more, to enjoy each other. And it's fun when you win, of course, but I think there's ways of taking some of the pressure off, and it's got to start with me this week with my energy and my approach. And I was disappointed, not just about the pick, but a couple other I wish I could have had back. But we just have to respond to adversity a little bit better, and it starts with me, and I got to lead the way with that.
Okay, so there's the question. It's like, are you happy because you win, or do you win because you're happy? And then is your mindset have to or get to? Is that what you're referring to, almost like on a day-to-day process of it all?
I think you have to get yourself to a point, whether you're 2-5 or 5-2, or wherever you are in between. What's the worst that could happen? And take your mind to that spot and deal with it. And then what's the best that could happen? And take your mind to that and deal with it. But deal with it and then move on. And just play free. The worst that could happen, we don't turn this around and things go south, and a lot of us are, in a different stratosphere. Now deal with that. Okay, cool. Are you going to be okay at the end of that? Yeah, I'm going to be okay. Guys are going to be okay. What's the best that could happen? We embrace the energy that's shifted in 2 weeks. We go out, we play free, we have fun, we enjoy each other on the field. We do the little things. We pick each other up, celebrate. We believe in each other. We communicate on the sidelines, and we go on a run. And then we can do something magical. We've been in this spot before. We, meaning myself and some of the guys I've played with. There's the semi-famous relaxed statement. That was after 3 weeks, going into week 4, where we turned around. But people maybe forget about 4-6 in 2016, when we weren't playing well at all and went through a rough stretch and just got kind of waxed in Tennessee, and came back home and then we ran the table, won 8 straight, and went to the NFC Championship game, eventually losing to Atlanta. But that was a fun stretch. We won a lot of good games. Offensively, we kind of figured some things out. We started taking the ball, and Davante had an incredible second half of that season. Started to lift himself as our top target there. As it was kind of the back end of Jordy's career. Jordy was still incredible player, but Davante was starting to emerge. And then in 2022, although it didn't end, Ty, you remember this one? We were, I believe, 3-6 at one point. We were 4-8. And then I just kept feeling it's just going to take one. And we got that one against Chicago at Chicago. And then we won 4 in a row and eventually lost to arguably the hottest team in the league at that point, which was Detroit at home, in a game that obviously I didn't play my best game and my last game at Lambeau. But we got hot, we started to believe. And that's what just the power of belief is a snowball that can start an avalanche. And I think that's what we need. And it starts with me. I got to bring the right energy every single day, and especially on game day. I feel like we've been loose. We've been having good practices. But for whatever reason, there's been a little bit of tightness on game day. And I think that's got to start with me. I got to bring the same energy during the week and lead with that energy. I think there's been some good leadership moments, but I need to be a great leader. And I think part of that is that last little energetic part and just doing as much as I can to make sure those guys play free and not worry about making mistakes. And when something bad does happen, how do we all respond, myself included? And I think we can do that a little bit betterly. And it starts with me, and I'm gonna set the tone this week with that.
Hell yeah. Let's go. A lot of football left. And obviously, magical things have happened not only for you and a lot of the guys that are currently on the Jets roster, but in football in general. It's 2-5. It's a bit daunting. But if you go on a run at any moment, you're right back in it, especially this season. This season, there's only one team that is still undefeated. Everything else is still out there, seemingly for everybody. AJ has a question for you, Aaron.
Aaron, we hear people talk about all the time, like the process. Trust the process. Try to enjoy the whole process, and don't worry about the results and everything. How is that like? When you're thinking about that, does your process stay the same when the results are not what you have had in the past and not what you want?
Yeah, that's a good question, Mr. Media Guy.
That's a good question, Mr. Media Guy. Because he's MMG. Oi! 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 Sorry. Mr. Media Guy. MMG.
Mr. Media Guy, I love that. That could be a new nickname. The process has to stay the same as far as the core principles of it. But I think there's always room for tweaking, and it involves a lot of self-reflection. And I think that's what we all need to do is look at our own process. And the core kind of foundational pieces of that process should be able to be sustained from week one into the playoffs. But there's always little tweaks that need to go on. And it's a hyper-awareness of your role in the team and how you can do that to the best of your abilities. You know, if you're a teamer and that's your role, you got to do it to the best of your abilities every single week, every day in practice, preparation, on game day. If you're an impact player, you got to show up every single day and practice the right way. If you're an energy guy, you got to bring the energy every single day. As a quarterback, you're involved in a lot of those different things. You obviously have an important role to play. You're an impact player, but you also got to bring the energy and be that consistent person people can rally behind. But it's going to be interesting to see how we respond to this. This is, we're in the fire for sure. It's been a rough 4-game stretch for us, coming off of a win that everybody's feeling real good about on a Thursday night, and we got to reset and get this thing moving in the right direction starting Sunday at New England.
That can be a freeing thing when everybody understands the situation that you're in. That can be you talk about that a lot. Everybody needs to play free. And I think people that maybe haven't played sports or team sports can understand what that means. Playing free is like knowing what you're supposed to do and then not overthinking it either. So you're that comfortable with everything and how you're feeling. You're just going out there and doing as opposed to any thinking, and having the right mindset throughout the entire week is a big part of it. What year is this for you?
Lucky number 20.
Isn't it crazy that like guys that play 20 years or 18 years or, we're just talking about Braun playing 22 years. When I was a kid, I used to think that there was people that weren't practice people and just showed up in the games.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this guy's able to just turn the switch on game day. It's like, that's not real. Nobody that is actually good does that. Like, that is not how the world, like every meeting for the ones that are at the top, like is the last meeting on earth. Like there is an attention to everything that the greats accomplish that when I was a kid, I thought you were just going to be able to, I'll practice, who cares?
Roll the ball out.
I'll be able to do it again. It's like.
It's because you saw that Allen Iverson interview.
Bingo. Practice. Talk about practice. We're not talking about a game. I mean, AI might have been the only one.
Sure,
legitimately.
maybe.
AI might have been the only one, and I assume there's a couple in the NFL that have been able to do it, but
rare.
Very rare. And I think that's a misconception that some people have. And it's like, no, work, everything.
Yeah, I agree. There's somebody that can do it. I mean, Charles, late in his career with us, I would see him, banged up, getting treatment nonstop, and then always on his iPad, like watching film. And he just never worried about, how he was going to be on game day. He was going to show up. He was going to ball out. He was going to lead. He was going to bring energy. I heard, I haven't seen this, but I heard, D-Hop has gone through stretches where he hasn't practiced a lot. And he's one of the most dynamic receivers of our generation. So he's obviously able to just, suck it up, be a warrior, turn it on and go practice or go play on game day. But those are the outliers. There's just very few that can do that. I mean, I need to practice. I need to be out there bringing the focus and the energy. You talk about intentionality, like the basis of manifestation is intention and attention. And I agree with what you said. Every meeting is the most important thing we're doing in that moment. And then the next thing is the most important thing that we're doing in that moment. I think that's got to be the approach. And it's just refining these small little parts of the process to get this thing right. But I love what Brick's been talking about the last 2 weeks. I love the opportunities given to certain people to speak in certain times. It's been very impactful. But now, and I said this last week, all this stuff is fantastic. It's amazing, the good vibes. But it doesn't matter. It's not even worth the shit unless you win.
Yeah.
And so we got to figure it out. And then, because the winning gives all the, the minor little tweaks that are going on, it gives them the justification. It gives them the platform. It gives them
validation.
Recognition. The validation, that's the right word I was looking for. And and we just got to do that.
I'm excited to watch it. Now, one of the moves that is going to be validated, we assume regardless, happened last week with good friend of yours. D-Butch got a question.
Yeah, talking about impact players, Davante, I think I'm going to assume he had a good week of practice. I saw you target him on the first play of the game, but it kind of struggled to get him the ball in the second half. I know some batted balls. I don't know if that's something defenses are doing intentionally. But what was Pittsburgh, I guess, doing to prevent Davante getting those targets, getting those catches in the second half?
Well, I think they had a good plan. They played a lot of two-shell. There was a lot of vision zones, but there weren't a lot of outside freebies other than the first play when they played two invert to that side, and I just missed the throw outside. But there was a few opportunities we had, but I think we were just kind of easing Tay in. He hadn't played in a few weeks. He had a lot of feel for the offense, but there wasn't a lot of different things that we felt we wanted to just throw him into. But I think you're going to see his role expand as we move forward. I liked Allen had multiple catches and some impact plays. G had a number of impact plays for us. Mike had a huge fourth down conversion for us. Mm-hmm. We're going to need all those guys moving forward, and we're just going to be able to keep doing more and more stuff with what 17 allows us to do.
I'm excited to watch the offense continue to evolve. How's Donning? How's it been? A couple weeks now.
Yeah, Todd's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's in a tough spot in that he's replacing a best friend. But I thought he's handled it with a lot of class and a really good approach. Hack's been very supportive through the whole process. But, Todd's done a really good job in front of the room, delivering the message, installing the plays. And I have a lot of trust and respect for Todd Downing. He's a great man and a damn good coach.
All right. Let's go now, boys.
Yeah, Todd.
Let's go now, boys. Let's go offense. Huh? Let's start using all the pieces. Let's start moving along. Let's start winning games. They look good. There's been so many spurts of great. It's close, right? We feel on everything, don't you? That's kind of how every team feels after a loss. It's like, these 5-6 plays, they go our way. We probably win that game, But do you feel that with the offense? Especially with Davante getting back in there, we're close to being full efficiency?
Yeah, but what does that give you? That doesn't do shit for you. It's like, hey, we're close. All right, well, maybe this week we'll put it together. I will say, from a mindset, looking back on the 16 season, we had a subtle shift in mindset. And the mindset was offense, we're going to win the game. We're going to put our defense in a better spot. And they hadn't been playing lights out, our defense. But we said, let's start faster. Let's be intentional about these first 15. Let's get rolling and let our defense play with the lead and see how things start to evolve. And the confidence that I saw on both sides of the ball really changed. In New York, good, bad, or indifferent, for the last long stretch, it's been win with defense. That's what it's been. We joke about being a defensive organization, but they've had a lot of defensive head coaches, the ones that you remember. And it's kind of been at times in spite of the offense. We saw it last year a lot. Our defense hold them to 13 points and lose, 12 points and lose, 17 points and lose. And offensively, I think we need to just adjust that mindset instead of hey, let's go play well. It's, hey, let's win the game on offense. And I know it seems like a little thing or trivial, but mindset is everything. And Brick talks about heart, mind, and fist. Heart being why you play. You play for your teammates. You play for the love of the game. Fist is the violence part of it. It's, it's controlled violence, in a collision sport. But the mindset is so very important. And I think if we can start to think about things in that way, let's go win it on offense. Let's not hang around and wait for a defense to get us a stop or a big turnover or teams to have an impact play. Let's go win this game on offense and have that mindset of scoring every possession. and it starts this week on Wednesday.
Yeah, you mentioned all the ones you can remember: Herm Edwards, Rex Ryan, Robert Saleh. Those are all defensive guys.
Bowles.
Now, Bowles, also a defensive guy. Now, Brick, defense coordinator, is the interim head coach. Heart, mind, and fist. Love that. You can get it. Sounds like some of his messages are already hitting home. Conman has a question.
Yeah, Aaron, on your touchdown to Conklin, a lot of people I know actually bet Conklin to score a touchdown, so a lot of people are very, very, very appreciative of that. But on that play, the play before, it looked as though Breece Hall got in. It looked as though they were going to review it, and they decided not to. You guys got to the line, ran a play. Coach Ulbrich, he was close to throwing that challenge flag, and then there was a little bit of a mishap. Have you gone over with him how to throw the challenge flag, and have you guys been practicing just throwing the ball around, before and after practice?
Playing catch.
Yeah, playing a little catch so that when that opportunity comes, he might be ready for it.
Well, as Pat likes to say, if you know Brick, you know he's pretty jocked.
Yeah, he's jocked, isn't he? He's jocked.
He's pretty jocked.
I love that.
So maybe there was a little shoulder tightness in there that didn't allow him to get that flag out. Maybe, he likes to – he's a little stylish too, so maybe the pants were a little tight. He couldn't quite get the flag out, and then the shoulder was a little tight.
Yeah.
But Age, you might –
between the cheeks and the pants, especially if he's jocked. That could have been his chest. His chest too big. Couldn't be able to get it.
Like AQ.
Big gorilla couldn't reach it. Yeah, there's a chance that that's the case.
It was a little slippery, unfortunately. But fortunately, we had a great play call and made a good fake, and Conk was wide open. But I don't know if you – and we'll see if we can get this here's the clip here. But I don't know if we can get this this clip teed up. But in 2012, we were in Minnesota later in the year, and I threw a key to James Jones, just a little run alert. He broke a tackle and reached out for the goal line and scored it. Now, some people remember this, some people don't. But back then, the rules were, and we learned it on Thanksgiving when Houston played at the Lions, if there's a play, scoring play, or a turnover, I believe it was both those things, those started to get reviewed. However, if you threw a challenge flag, it was unable to be reviewed. So there was a play with Justin Forsett where he, against the Lions, he busts off like a 70-yard touchdown run. They let the play stand. Obviously, in replay, you could tell that he was down. But instead of just pausing, because it was a new rule, I believe it was Jim Schwartz threw the flag, right? And because he threw the flag, they weren't able to review it. So a play that would have been like a 6-yard gain turned into a 70-yard touchdown for Forsett. So fast forward later in the year, we're playing against the Vikings. James Jones scores his touchdown. As he reaches out for the goal line, he hits the goal line with the ball, and the ball pops out. And instead of calling touchdown, they call it a fumble. They return it. Well, Mike threw his challenge flag on the field, and Jordy picked it up super secretly and tucked it in his pocket. You remember? And then Mike Carey, who was the ref that day, I believe it was Mike Carey, he said they got buzzed down before the challenge flag was thrown. So they allowed it to go to replay. Obviously, in the replay, they reversed the turnover and gave us a touchdown. But immediately when I turned, because I threw a touchdown, and I peeked back. I don't know if I was thinking there might have been a flag or something. I peeked back, and as I peeked back, I saw the red flag on the ground. So I went up and just threw it threw it off the field. But my immediate thought was, 2012. I think it was 2012 when Mike threw that challenge flag that we was able to stand up. But yeah, Brick, he's still getting used to everything. He had one later in the game though, which was a real, I feel like, solid throw. He got inside the numbers. So shout out to learning from your mistakes and getting that thing all the way out there.
That's really former player.
Some coaches just drop it in front of the ref.
Spike.
And then sometimes they slam it in front of the ref.
Should try to hit him.
Sometimes they
try to hit the ref.
It in front of the ref. But definitely Brick had that thing way out there.
I don't think throwing it at officials is the right move.
Come on.
You can't get a flag if it hits them. You can't. Yeah, you could say, "Hey, I was trying to get in your vicinity, into your eye line."
Right, get a flag.
You could get a flag.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Throw it hard enough.
Head coach of this team right here try to hit me in
his arms. He's got too live of an arm. Sorry, guys. All right, I think he'll take that.
Sorry, Coach Brick. Coach Brick Shohei from the mound, even though they won't put him up there. Mm-hmm. I'm so sick of it. Let Shohei pitch. Anyways, we move along. Coach Brick sounds like a good guy, though. We like him.
Yeah, we love Coach Brick. He's a great great human being. He's done a nice job in a tough situation.
All right, a couple more questions about the Steelers game. Tone has one for you.
Yeah. Hi, Aaron. First and foremost, when the game was over Sunday night, the first thing I noticed was like there was a line of Steelers players coming up to you just because of how long you've been in the league, and just kind of your stature and who you are as just a future Hall of Famer. And I was thinking, like, after a loss, is that a pain in the ass? Does that suck, or is that like, hey, this is kind of cool that every single person on the Steelers does want to talk to me?
Well, I will say this. That's a great question. One thing that I am a little sensitive about is, I'm a fierce competitor, and I hate to lose. And in those post games, the loss has already happened, and now I'm seeing people that sometimes I really love and respect and played with or played against and have a ton of respect for, or coaches I've gone against over the years. So I never want that to be misconstrued with I'm not fucking pissed. Because I am.
Thank you for apologizing. Thank you.
Because I am. But this game is a relationship-based game. And, we all have some of our closest friends because of this business. So I think there's a lot to be grateful for. And I always look for the starting quarterback or the group of quarterbacks after the game. I saw Russ, I saw Justin, I saw Kyle, guys that I've known for a long time. Dean Lowry, one of my favorite teammates, Dean the Machine is over there. He's just an awesome guy, and got to have a cool moment with them. So instead of just like a passing, like, hey, good game, to be able to drop in for 15, 30 seconds with some of these guys is a special moment. And some of these guys, tell you, hey, man, you're my favorite player growing up, or I watched you as a kid, or you inspired me. And that's cool moments. Some people, just share their respect. Some people share a story or a moment. Dean said some super nice things to me about our time in Green Bay, and I was really thankful for that. Some coaches I've gone against for a long time, being able to see Arthur, who I have a ton of respect for, and some of the coaches that have been there forever, Mike Tomlin, ton of respect for Mike. Those are important moments. I think that's what great competitors do. Is you hate to lose, but
let's go shake their hands.
There's a respect. Yeah, there's a respect thing about knowing what you're putting on the line. Both teams, the grind, the time you put in, and showing your respects in that way. But as an older player, there's a few more people who sometimes wait around to talk to you.
That's awesome to hear these kids. I was 5 years old when you started in this league.
That's some of the sentiment for sure.
I feel like ever since I've had memories, you've been playing quarterback in the NFL. Thank you so much for what you've done for the game. All right, Antique Rodgers, I'm going to get out of here, brother. It's like you came to the zoo, got a chance to see the museum piece here, play ball and say hello. Did Beanie, West Virginia legend, you going to sign one of those balls for him, please? Maybe both of them?
Yeah, I can do that.
Boom.
That's very kind of you. Because you're one of the guys you get a pick off if it's like, see that shit?
Yep.
That was once in Aaron's hands. Mm-hmm. Then whose hands they get into?
Hell yeah.
Mine.
Beanie.
You talked about Coach Tomlin there. Obviously been around forever. What the Steelers have is literally a staple of consistency throughout the board. I mean, Omar, the new GM, was there for like 10 years, 15 years before it. So it's like that place is very similar. You and Coach Tomlin had a few moments. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Aaron, I don't know if you actually made eye contact with him, but it was on the broadcast briefly when I think you were trying to get them with 12 men on the field, and Tomlin quickly got the timeout in, and the camera panned to him, and he's kind of just nodding to you, grinning like, yeah, you're not going to get me, pal. Obviously, you two have a bunch of mutual respect for each other, but in situations like these, do you feel like teams at this point now are getting a little better with that, and they're like not going to allow you to get them with the 12 men on the field because you've been so successful with that in the past?
Well, I think it's on their mind for sure. The substitution patterns have definitely changed in our games. Just a simple point at the line of scrimmage stops, substitution coach from bringing guys on the field. So that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get them to think about. That moment between Coach Tomlin and I was the exact same thing that happened in 2021 when we played them at home. You remember we had him, and he called a late timeout, which was just like the other night. And he looked over and did the same thing, kind of smirked and shook his head like, no, you're not getting us. You're not getting us today. So kudos to him for being on that. there's a lot of times where a guy's running off the field and a coach will risk whether or not that guy is going to get off the field or not. And it's always, kind of that fine line. The ball needs to be on the ground. We need to be in a formation, and they need to have a guy who's, sprinting his butt off to get off, and just trusting that you're going to get the snap off before that's off. Over the years, as Ty knows, not only have we got guys with 12 on the field, but there's been, I want to say 3 or 4 times at least where they haven't called it, and we've gone to a challenge, because that's a challengeable play, and actually reversed or brought about the 12 on the field call through that. So people maybe don't realize that's a challengeable play, but it is. To our credit, over the years doing that, we haven't been wrong when we've challenged that. Every time we've challenged whether or not they had 12 on the field, we've won. So it's something to think about. They've always thought about it. Different coaches have had different substitution kind of styles. With Chris Kasarik over the years, who's been in San Fran and Detroit, they seem like would always have either a play after 3 plays you sprint off the field, or if it's a play that finishes outside the sideline to their sideline, quick substitution. So just give them something else to think about during the week and to be prepared for.